If someone asked me to recommend just 5 Nintendo Switch action games and nothing else, this is the list I'd give without overthinking it. I'm not trying to cover every subgenre on the system, and I'm definitely not saying these are the only good action games on Switch. What I mean is, if you own a Switch and want a lineup that covers the absolute essentials of action gaming, these 5 do the job better than anything else. You got first-person action and exploration, pure fighting game chaos, open-world action-adventure, deep combat mastery, and stylish combo-heavy spectacle. That is basically the full package. What I love about this list is that every game here scratches a different itch. Some are about atmosphere and discovery, some are about non-stop intensity, some reward patience and learning, some are instantly fun the second you pick up the controller, but all of them feel like must-haves to me, the kind of games I'd never want a Switch library to be without. So, if you want the shortest possible answer to the question, what action games do I really need on Nintendo Switch? This is it. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is the kind of game that reminds me, action does not always have to mean constant explosions every second. Sometimes the best action games know when to slow down, build tension, and let the world do the heavy lifting. That is exactly why I think this one deserves a spot here. From everything we have seen and from what the series has always done best, this looks like the first-person action-adventure on Switch that will stand out because of atmosphere, exploration, and those intense bursts of combat that hit harder because the game gives them room to breathe. What I love about Metroid Prime at its best is the feeling of being alone in a strange place, scanning the environment, noticing small details, and slowly understanding how the world connects. You are not just running from fight to fight, you are exploring, solving problems, unlocking paths, and getting stronger in a way that feels natural. That downtime matters. It makes the planet feel real, and it makes every dangerous encounter feel more serious. Then, when combat does kick in, it usually has weight. Enemies feel threatening, bosses feel memorable, and Samus always feels powerful without the game becoming mindless. That balance is what makes Metroid different from a lot of other action games. It is not just about fast reflexes, it is about immersion, pacing, and payoff. If you want a Switch action game that feels moody, smart, and unforgettable, this is one of the first names I would bring up. If I had to pick one Nintendo Switch action game that can fit almost any mood, it would be Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This game is ridiculous in the best way. It works when I want something casual, it works when I want something competitive, and it works when I just want to have fun with friends without needing a long setup. That flexibility is a huge reason I think it belongs on a list this small. It is not just a great fighting game, it is the definitive Switch action game for pure gameplay and replay value. What makes Smash Ultimate so special to me is how easy it is to jump into and how deep it becomes once you stay with it. A brand new player can pick a character, mash a little, laugh a lot, and still have a good time. At the same time, experienced players can spend ages learning movement, spacing, matchups, recovery, mind games, and all the tiny details that separate good play from great play. The skill ceiling feels almost endless, and that gives the game serious staying power. I also love how much content is packed into it. Solo play, local multiplayer, online matches, party chaos, serious one-on-one battles, crazy item matches, custom rule sets, giant roster, iconic music, classic stages. It just keeps delivering. Few games feel this complete. If someone buys a Switch and wants one action game they can keep coming back to for years, Smash Ultimate is the safest answer I can give. It is pure fun, pure competition, and pure Nintendo magic. I'm counting Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom together because honestly, they feel like the definitive action-adventure duo on Nintendo Switch. If someone asked me what games show off the system at its absolute best when it comes to freedom, exploration, and exciting moment-to-moment action, these are the two I'd point to first. They are not identical, but together they cover everything I want from this style of game. Breath of the Wild blew me away because it trusted me. It dropped me into Hyrule and basically said, go figure it out. That sense of discovery is still one of the best feelings I've had on Switch. Climbing a mountain because something looked interesting, finding a shrine tucked away somewhere weird, stumbling into danger I was not ready for, it all felt natural. The action works because it is tied to exploration so well. Every fight, every weapon, every encounter feels like part of the journey. Then Tears of the Kingdom takes that base and turns it into something even more creative. It gives you more tools, more possibilities, and more ways to solve problems or cause chaos. I love how it makes experimentation feel rewarding, instead of gimmicky. It is still about action and adventure, but but now with even more freedom. If I could only recommend one slot for open-world action adventures on Switch, this would be it. Between these two games, you get some of the best exploration, combat, and player freedom Nintendo has ever made. Monster Hunter Rise is the game I recommend when someone wants action that can completely take over their life in a good way. This is the Nintendo Switch action RPG for people who love mastering combat over time, because that is what the whole experience is built around. The loop is simple on paper. You hunt monsters, craft better gear, learn more, and go back out for tougher hunts. But once it clicks, it becomes one of the most satisfying gameplay loops on the system. What really makes Rise special to me is how deep the combat gets. Every weapon feels like its own game. Great sword, longsword, charge blade, bow, dual blades, hammer, they all ask you to think differently, move differently, and commit to different rhythms. That means the skill curve stays interesting for a very long time. You are not just getting stronger because your numbers go up. You are getting stronger because you're actually improving, and the monsters are what make that growth feel real. These fights are not throwaway encounters. They are the whole point. You study patterns, learn tells, manage your positioning, and pick your moments. When a difficult hunt finally goes your way, it feels earned. Rise also does a great job of making Monster Hunter feel faster and smoother without losing the series' identity. The movement is better, the pace is sharper, and the action is more approachable while still having loads of depth. If you want a Switch action game that can give you 100+ hours of pure combat mastery, this is the one. Bayonetta 3 is the game I put on this list when I want to represent pure stylish character action. If the question is, what Switch game gives me non-stop spectacle, combo-heavy combat, and that over-the-top feeling where every fight looks cooler than it has any right to? This is the answer. Bayonetta has always been about making action feel flashy, precise, and satisfying at the same time, and that is exactly why I think this series is essential. What I love about Bayonetta is that the combat is not just button pressing, even though it can look wild from the outside. The game rewards timing, awareness, and confidence. Dodging at the right moment to trigger witch time still feels amazing because it turns defense into offense so smoothly. Suddenly the pace changes, enemies open up, and you get that small window to unleash combos and really take control of the fight. Bayonetta 3 also understands that action games should feel exciting every minute. It is constantly throwing something new at you, whether that is a fresh enemy type, a massive set piece, a bizarre visual idea, or another chance to show off in combat. It does not care about being subtle, and honestly, that is part of the charm. It wants to entertain you, surprise you, and keep the energy high. For me, every great action lineup needs one game that is all about style, rhythm, and spectacle. On Switch, Bayonetta 3 fills that role perfectly. It is bold, ridiculous, skillful, and unforgettable in the best possible way. So yeah, if I had to build the cleanest possible Nintendo Switch action starter pack, these would be my 5 picks. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond gives you atmosphere and exploration. Smash Ultimate gives you endless replay and competitive depth. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom give you the gold standard for action adventure. Monster Hunter Rise gives you long-term combat mastery. Bayonetta 3 gives you stylish spectacle and pure adrenaline. That is why I love this lineup. Every game here feels essential, but none of them overlap too much. Together, they cover the full range of what action gaming on Switch can be. If your library has these 5, you're in a very good place.